The first one? Yeah. See the sign? Oh, yes.
Matter of fact, you better get him out of here.
Would you like, do you mind holding the camera?
Good morning, folks.
Good morning.
Good morning. How's everyone doing?
Good. What a day.
Well, thank you all so much for coming out and joining us here in our rally to end toxic home flipping. I know some of you are impacted in many different ways by this issue. We're joined by the Coalition for Community Advancement, Chaya, Pratt helped put this event together, as well as Community Land Trust, Salazar here, so happy to see you all here. So I'm going to get us started with some chants to get us ready to rally, and then Paul, our city member, is going to kick us off. All right? Does everyone have a copy of chants? Okay, cool. All right, let's start with this one. Speculators out of sight, we won't give up without a fight. Speculators out of sight, we won't give up without a fight. Speculators out of sight, we won't give up without a fight. Speculators out of sight, we won't give up without a fight. Speculators out of sight, we won't give up without a fight. Speculators out of sight, we won't give up without a fight. Let's try this one. We need housing that's fair and just. Stop speculation, it's a must. We need housing that's fair and just. Stop speculation, it's a must. We need housing that's fair and just. Stop speculation, it's a must. We need housing that's fair and just. Stop speculation, it's a must. Woo! All right, I'm going to kick it off to Paul Harrison here.
Let's see if I can make this thing work. Yes? Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Paul Harrison. I'm a steering committee member of the Community Coalition for Community Advancement. A community-based organization that's been fighting for the rights and justice of East New Yorkers for well over a decade. And most of our members have roots here going well back before that. I just want to talk a little bit about why we are here this morning on this beautiful day. We're here for the people of East New York. We believe that the housing policies of the city should reflect the needs and desires and the justice of people who live here. Woo! So we have a number of speakers today who are going to talk about new legislation, the End Toxic Home Flipping Act in the New York State Legislature, and I hope that you will all listen closely to what they have to say. I'm so glad that we have such an excellent day here and that so many of you have come out. I think our first speaker is going to be Senator Salazar, and I'd like to welcome her up here. Give her a big hand.
Thank you, Paul. I'll give it a try.
I'll click it and you just
Oh.
get in close to it.
Oh, sure.
You just hold
All
it.
right. Let's see if, yeah.
So if you hold that in.
All right. No, maybe not.
Okay.
It's this button. Hello, hello. I don't know. Oh, is it not on?
Hello? Can we turn something off?
Maybe. It's on. Both at once. Yeah. And then hold this.
Yeah, hold it.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. How about now? Yeah? No? I think I might just go without it. Great. I'll just project. Good afternoon, everyone. I had to think about that one. I'm Senator Julia Salazar. I represent this beautiful community in the New York State Senate, and I am so proud to be the sponsor, along with my colleague Catalina Cruz, of the End Toxic Home Flipping Act. Everywhere we look, in Cypress Hills, East New York, but also in Jamaica, Queens, in other neighborhoods around our city, we see signs that say, we'll pay cash for your house. You see the evidence of aggressive real estate speculation everywhere you look. Why is this a problem? It's actually a problem for all of us. It is a problem for homeowners, for people who don't yet own a home, but they have dreams of owning a home for them or their family to live in. It's also a problem for renters. Imagine that you are someone who has lived in Cypress Hills, in East New York for decades, maybe even for your entire life. And like so many of our neighbors, you're struggling financially. You're struggling to get by. And your only asset is your home. You're fortunate to own your home, but maybe you're on a fixed income. Maybe you've fallen on hard times. Maybe you're just struggling. But you're having a hard time keeping up with your costs. And then a predatory speculator comes in, someone who's not from this community, who doesn't have any interest in really investing in this community or living here, but they come to you and they say, I'll pay you cash for your home. And it's less than your home is worth, but you're between a rock and a hard place, right? And so a lot of folks end up selling their homes for way less than they are worth, often because they're harassed into selling their homes, because they don't really feel like they have a choice. And a cash buyer approaches them and they end up selling their home for less than it's worth, which of course means displacement even for their family, because they probably can't afford to buy another home in this area. They're probably going to be displaced. And then if they have tenants who live in their home, those tenants are also out of luck now. They've also been displaced, right? This is something that has a ripple effect in our communities. And then additionally, they don't hold on to the home, right? The speculator investor comes in, and often in a matter of just months, they might make some aesthetic, like shoddy repairs. They might not even do that. They turn around and they sell that same property for multiple times what they paid for it. We're talking 4 times, sometimes even more, what they paid for it. And they do this with impunity, and it's destabilizing our communities. It drives up property taxes that are already unaffordable and inequitable for the homeowners of properties surrounding the flipped property, and it just becomes a cycle that continues. In recent years in New York City, 1/3 of homes, not all properties, but of homes that were sold in New York City were sold to predatory speculators. That is outrageous. So what about the rest of us? What about people who want to buy a home to actually live in? that want to buy a home for people, for their family, instead of for profit. This is why we need to pass the End Toxic Home Flipping Act. And we need to do it this year.
Yes.
It's urgent. What this would do is impose a tax, which frankly we hope not to collect, but it would impose a steep tax on sellers, on predatory home flippers, if they seek to sell the property within 1 or 2 years, just 1 or 2 years of purchasing the property. With obvious exemptions, this would only apply to people who are engaging in the practice of home flipping, not people who, are selling a home to a family member, not someone who is in financial distress, but the people who are coming into our communities, not even sticking around and just seeking to profit off of people's pain. It's really urgent that we pass this legislation. I'm so grateful for this coalition, not just from here in Cypress Hills in East New York, but from all over the city, because our communities are dealing with the same challenges. And it's time for us to finally come together and stand up to the real estate speculators who are doing this to our communities. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator.
Actually,
Yes.
can I make a request? Just for the purposes of like a good-looking background, if the speakers could stand like in the center over there, it would be kind of a
Point me
nice-
where you want me, and everyone can help you.
right around there.
Yeah, because it looks good for everybody to be shown, you know?
Yeah?
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good direction.
Yeah.
Fight, fight! Housing is a human right! Fight, 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 fight, fight!
Thanks again, Senator. I just wanted to, before I introduce the next speaker, speak for just a moment about this beautiful community we live in. This community is probably one of the higher local individual homeowner communities in New York. Somewhere in the range of a third of the residents here, or the homes here, are owned, and you know, it's a majority minority community, and we all know that the way it got that way is through the racist policies of the government over the years. Redlining drove property prices horribly askew and danger. But this community has grown up over the last 50 years to be a tight-knit, minority-based community with deep roots here in the land. And this speculation is threatening to destroy that. So I hope you will continue to listen, and I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Councilwoman Sandy Nurse.
Okay. I'm gonna do it this way.
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Councilmember Sandy Nurse, and I represent not only this community but also Bushwick, also City Line, parts of Brownsville, and all across the district. We are seeing constant buyouts, many homes, many 1-2 family homes being purchased with straight cash, very little cash, and then flipped very quickly. A lot of construction crews going in, probably paid terrible wages, probably have zero safety standards. In and out, some sheetrock, some new studs, maybe a little bit of tiling, a paint job, in and out, flipped for another $300,000. A home that maybe should be worth $300,000, maybe $400,000 starter home, now is $750,000, $800,000, making it basically inaccessible for anybody who grew up in this community. Anybody who wants to stay. And many people do want to leave, and they should get the fair price for their home. For people who stayed and built up these communities, for people who stayed and made these neighborhoods something that suddenly people want to be in, they should be able to get the fair price. But the next people who come in should not be able to have to pay $1 million to live in a community that doesn't have wages and income even remotely close to that, doesn't have the purchasing power. The fact is, the communities here cannot compete with investment firms, with vulture funds that have cash to move quickly and buy people out. They are preying on people's distressed finances. They are preying on our elders, our seniors, who maybe their families have left because they couldn't afford to live here. Now they're here by themselves and someone signed something and now there's a little bit of cash and it's gone. It's not just that these folks are coming in and flipping. They're also selling to other vulture funds and other investment firms. And now those properties, that housing stock, is not owned by anybody who even lives here. It's not even owned by our community. A lot of the housing stock right now is owned by distant corporations where we don't know who these people are, and they have no interest in staying in this community. They have no interest in investing in this community. They don't show up to things like this. They're not here helping to make the parks better. They don't care. These are profiteers. That's it. And it's really important that we pass this legislation to disincentivize this type of practice. Is it going to end the large problem? No, but it can slow it down. And I want to acknowledge, the senator did a lot of work with the community board and the coalition to do the cease and desist effort to stop people from relentlessly attacking and coming and soliciting to people to sell their homes. It's endless. And so we really need, people really need to put themselves on that register list and let the developers know they're not for sale. If they want to sell their home, they know where to go find it. So, this is really important. This has been around for a while, right? This legislation has been around for a couple years. It needs to happen. It needs to happen. And, I just want to give a shout out to the coalition for doing this hard work, for keeping the energy up, and all of the other groups who came. I know we're in not a high traffic area where rallies normally happen, but it's really important to do this in a community like here, like in Cypress Hills, where you could walk down any street and you will see construction. It's moving fast. When these companies own these properties, the rooms get smaller, the living rooms get smaller. Suddenly a single family home is rented to 7 different people. It's chopped up and everyone's being forced to live in tiny little spaces. We can't afford it. The credit rating score you need to get in there, the income level you need to even look at the apartment. They're not taking vouchers. They're not taking Section 8. It is in effect extreme displacement. And the result is we've seen Black New Yorkers, brown New Yorkers, long-term New Yorkers leaving in droves. And we're gonna lose our community. So we have to hold on, we have to fight back, we have to save our neighborhoods, we have to stand up and fight. So I'm just proud to be here with y'all on this beautiful Saturday. Thank you for doing the work you're doing.
Whose homes?
Our homes!
Whose homes?
Our homes!
Whose homes?
Our homes!
Whose homes?
Our homes!
Thank you, Councilwoman Sandy Nurse. We're here in this beautiful park in East New York in the Cypress Hills area. This is a problem that goes well beyond our little domain here, across Queens, into the Bronx, the rest of the city, and all 5 boroughs. So I think our next speaker I'm going to introduce to speak on this is the Associate Director of Home Ownership for Achaya, Kenyan Yangsel.
I'm not sure. My voice is not that loud.
If you want to use this. I can hold it.
I can try to do that. Oh, okay. All right. So my name is Tenying Youngsal. I'm the Associate Director of Homeownership at Chaya, and we're located in Queens, and we've been working in the community for over 20 years. So my role for the last few years has been to counsel people who wanted to buy their first home in Queens, and also to help homeowners who are facing foreclosures. During the housing crisis of 2008, neighborhoods in Queens like Jackson Heights and Jamaica were the ground zero for foreclosures. And as it turned out, our communities were preyed upon by predatory mortgages and were deeply affected by those. Unfortunately, not much has changed, because every day I see a lot of homeowners come to us with who are affected by those right now, and even affected by COVID. People think it's 4 years ago, but there are so many homeowners that we serve are still being affected. So according to the ANHD's assessment of housing risk factors, Jamaica still has incredibly high rate of foreclosures. Its foreclosure filings is about 14%. That's a lot, and has one of the highest rate of non-bank loans in the city, which is around 73%. So what does this statistic means, right? This means that the communities are targets for speculations. This means that elderly folks living on fixed incomes and working class families with limited English proficiencies are being preyed upon by speculators. This means that families who have worked tirelessly to save money for a down payment cannot compete with speculators' all cash offers. Alicia here is a pre-purchase counselor, and every day in the counseling session we have clients coming in and saying, like, I cannot afford to live in Jackson Heights, but that's where my family is, that's where I grew up, right? And that's why they have to leave their roots. And also this statistic means that houses go back for sale after a few months, after some superficial renovations, and prices go up, and working families from Queens aren't able to move in. We need the Stop Toxic Flipping bill to give working class a fighting chance of owning a home in the neighborhood they have roots. We need this bill to keep vulnerable homeowners safe from the harassment of predatory flippers. I also have counselors who have homeowners coming in who are facing foreclosures come in and say, I get a lot of phone calls, I get these papers, people coming in at their homes saying, sell your property. We see this every day at Chaya. And as I urge everybody to pass this bill and give homeowners in Queens some relief, and give neighborhoods a fighting chance of staying vibrant and diverse. Thank you everyone for joining today. I look forward to working alongside everybody. Let's keep this fight alive. Let's keep fighting. Hey, hey, ho, ho, speculators got to go.
Hey, hey, ho, ho, speculators got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, speculators got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, speculators got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, speculators got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, speculators got to go.
Thank you so much. It was not more than 36 hours ago that I myself ripped down a buy houses for cash sign in my block. This is kind of like the de-ratting you have to do all the time. The signs just keep coming back. I just rip them down and put them in the next trash can, and I hope you do too. We've talked a lot about this being a problem, not just for homeowners and for people who want to buy their homes, but for the tenant part of our community as well. And I'd like to introduce our next speaker from that perspective, Morither is a tenant leader from Queens.
All right. Hello everyone. Hello. My name is Morio. I have lived in Jamaica, Queens for 26 years. I'm a tenant leader and organizer. My work has been dedicated to fighting displacement and gentrification in order to keep our working class community diverse and
safe. I am very familiar with the tactics that predatory building owners use to displace people, and I see it all around me in Jamaica, Queens. My community is scheduled for a rezoning, and we all know what happens when communities of color get rezoned. As speculators come in, they buy up small 1 to 3 families houses that are in foreclosure or where the homeowners are struggling. Landlords buy rental buildings hoping to push people out. Then the price of homes and apartments skyrocket. And then good hardworking people are pushed out. I see this in Jamaica already. Unless we do something, it will get worse after the rezoning. Already the electricity poles are covered in "we will buy your house for cash" signs. Elderly homeowners are struggling to maintain their homes on their fixed income. Neglected houses are sold, and just a few short months later they are come back on the market. I see how my neighborhood is changing because of toxic flipping. I know that families are leaving Queens and New York City. We need this bill to stop those speculators in their tracks. We need this bill to give us time to help struggling families resist the pressure and the harassment to sell their homes. We need this bill to save our neighborhoods. The time is now to pass the Stop Toxic Flipping bill. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You know, our next speaker is going to be Tammy Green, who's a member of the East New York Community Land Trust.
Well, first of all, I want to say good afternoon. Good afternoon. And peace and blessings, and welcome to our neighborhood. I want you to repeat after me. Community is unity.
Is unity.
Again, community is unity. We live in one of the greatest cities in the world, and that is New York City. A city where people come from all over the world, tourists, people come all over the world to restart their lives. This is where the world trading goes on, yet we have a problem that cannot be fixed. There is a silent tornado that is ripping through New York City. When a tornado is coming, we can hear it and we see the effects of it. But with this predatory flipping, it's a silent tornado. The predatory flipping has got our community tripping because they benefit. You like that one? All right, so repeat after me. Predatory flipping. Got the community tripping. One more time. Predatory flipping. Got the community tripping. And what that means is that the predatory flippers land on their feet, but the community trip and they land on the ground. And so this is why we're out here, the senator and other coalitions and the other elected officials who put this bill to be passed in act, so it's up to us. With no voices, we have no choices. No voices?
No choices.
No voices?
No choices.
More voices?
More choices.
Oh, y'all heard
I knew that.
The more, I know that, it was mentioned earlier that we're not in a high traffic area, but the fact that we got to let our community know first so we can go out in the hundreds and voice our concerns. I want to thank the coalition for inviting me. I have a lovely speech that I endorse that was written for me, and I'm going to share a little bit about who I am, okay? So today I'm here to continue to fight against the injustice that has befallen not only on me, but countless others in the community. My name is Tammy Green, and I am here to share my story a story that unfortunately echoes for too many others in our neighborhood. About 10 years ago, I found myself homeless, living on the streets of New York. And I'm gonna say homelessness is not a joke. And there's a lot of people who fall into my category. One, because of the economic pressures that had taken place over 10 years ago. And then two, who are victims of the predatory flipping. I'm gonna try not to go off track too much here. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep it, I'm gonna stick to the script. So basically, I was homeless, I didn't have anywhere to go, and I came across the abandoned property here in East New York. I had to make a critical decision. Am I gonna go into this abandoned home, or am I gonna continue to be misled by the system and not really get the help that I can get? And I made the choice of taking that risk. And I went into a home that was abandoned, and for many years I tried to reach the owners and was unable to. I even went to court to try to stop the foreclosure proceedings in this home, but yet nothing was working in my favor. When the predatory flippers came, I didn't know who they were. They were disguised with the LLC. I still went to court to fight, knowing that something was not right. I thank the East New York Community Land Trust and the coalition for standing behind me, and Sandy Nurse and the senator for standing behind me and letting me know that I have rights. I didn't know I had rights. So I was in fear of being put on the streets again. And it's important to stop these particular individuals in their tracks, because they're not concerned with what's going on with the community. But now, after the decade of calling that house my home, I face the threat of eviction at the hands of the ruthless property flippers. These speculators, driven solely by greed and profit, see me not as a human being with rights, but as an obstacle to their financial gain. They are not there, they care not for the lives they disrupt to the communities they destroy. They care only for their bottom line. I am not alone in this fight across our neighborhoods. Families are being uprooted. Homes are being lost. Communities are being torn apart by these predatory practices. But we refuse to be silenced, and we refuse to let them win. More voices?
More choices!
More voices?
More choices!
All right, here we go. And I'm not alone in that fight. That's why I started in solidarity with all of you standing here today, and with countless others have been impacted by the toxic home flipping. Together we demand justice, and we demand accountability, and we demand action. Okay, thank you, action. And I'm just gonna finish it up. The End Toxic Home Flipping, sponsored by Senator Salazar and Assembly Member Cruz, is a crucial step towards holding these speculators accountable for their action by imposing hefty taxes on their profits, and send a clear message that exploitation and greed will not be tolerated in our communities. But passing this legislation is just the beginning. We must also continue to raise our voices, speak out against injustice whenever we see it, and fight for a future where everyone has a safe place to call their home. So I urge you, my friends, my neighbors, my fellow fighters for justice, stand with me, stand with all of us, and refuse to be pushed to the side. This is an awareness that would affect generations to come. And then I want to just add a little something. When England decided to take all of its undesirables and put them aboard a ship and come to a place where we stand now that's called America, it's not really taught. But when I did my research, I found out in the 1800s, 1820 to 1860s, that the United States government made treaties to displace the Native Americans that was here. And this is the territory that we're on right now. And I see the predatory flippers such as that they're coming into a territory that we are already here, and they're trying to illegally displace us. Let's not let what happened to the Native Americans happen here. And let us stand in solidarity, not only with us, but today let us remember the Native Americans whose land we stand on right now. So thank you very much. And God bless. Yes.
Thank you, Tammy.
Hey, hey.
Hey, ho ho, speculators got to go. Hey, hey, ho ho, speculators got to go. Hey, hey, ho ho, speculators got to go. Hey, hey, ho ho, speculators got to go. So thanks everyone for coming out today to support the End Toxic Home Flipping bill. We have one more speaker here, Malia, from the coalition. She's a community organizer. She's going to bring it home for us today.
Good afternoon, folks. I'm going to make this really quick. We've already had a lot of wonderful speeches, and folks shared a lot of about their experiences and about the bill. I just want to thank everyone who's here today again, all the community residents who made this possible, all the community organizations that are here, Coalition for Community Advancement, Cypress Hills, Chaya, Pratt, Centers, Community Land Trust. We are so grateful for all the work that you're doing. Of course, our elected officials who are here today. Thank you for championing this bill and helping us move it forward. One thing I urge you all to do is really contact your local electeds, really, and let them know about this bill, right? Let them know that your voice matters, that this is an issue that matters to you and matters to your community, and that we will not be silenced. So I urge you to do that today. We also have materials to share with you all if you want to learn more about the bill, who it impacts, who it doesn't impact. We would love to distribute those materials so you can gain a better understanding of that. But thank you again for being here. This is an issue that impacts so many people. We talked about homeowners, tenants, first-time homebuyers who feel their chances of ever buying a home in your city is dwindling. So many people are impacted by this and have been, trying to take action for a really long time. And we will continue to until the city and the state finally take action. So thank you all again.
Thank you everybody for coming out to support this important bill. Please continue to raise your voices. We thank you for your time. And let's just close with another cheer, right? Whose homes? Our homes. Whose homes? Our homes. Whose homes? Our homes.